Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I'm back with a new layout, and this one is for a guest design position at Scrapbook and Cards Today blog, and I was part of the mixed media focus for this week. And to create my layout, I pulled out the Dear Lizzie Lovely Day collection, and of course I wanted to do a lot of watercoloring, and I wanted to use some cut files. And I was inspired by those hey, hey, hey stickers on that sticker sheet. And so what I did was I went to my Silhouette Cameo and I found a font that I really like. I believe that's the Bromello font. It's a really pretty scripty font. And I created the word hey, and then I offset it so it would create an outline of the word. And I created it really big and then just cut it on some white cardstock. And I'm going to back those 3 letters with some of the pattern papers in the 6x6 paper pad. I wanted to try a different color scheme. I've had this collection for a while and I haven't really used much of it at all. And I like that it's got some different colors that I normally use. It does have the pinks and the blues and the yellows, but they're different shades. And so I wanted to challenge myself to, use some of the dark navy blue, and that's something that I don't do a lot of. And I'm going to incorporate some pinks and some yellows as I go. So I'm just taking some time, and this is an easy technique to do. I'm sure a lot of you have done it or tried it, where you just stick the cut file right onto the paper and then cut it out. And sometimes I'll trace it and then cut it out before I glue it down. But these letters were pretty easy to cut around, and they were so big, and I didn't want to take the time to trace it. So I just glued it straight down, and then I'm going back now and tracing over it. So I'm going to do a yellow sheet for the E and just try to get 3 different colors, different patterns going. And this is going to start the background design. I know that this is going to pretty much go in the center of my page, and then I'm going to work the photos around it and all the embellishments around it as I go. And I like when you have either, the sticker sheet in this case or pattern paper, and you see an image on it that you really like and it inspires your entire layout. I would never have thought to just create a big title that says, hey, but when I saw those 3 stickers, I thought that would be kind of cute. And so, yeah, I like when little things like that inspire me to, expand it and just make that part of your big design. So there I've got it all done. I cut the inside of the E and the inside of the Y out, and so it's ready to go. I'm going to use these 2 cute pictures of me and my oldest daughter. We were just goofing around, and I always try to grab her and hold her because she never wants to take selfies. And so I was like kind of cuddling with her, and we were laughing and tickling and just playing around on the couch. And so I grabbed my camera, and she tried to run away, so I kind of grabbed her and tickled her, and she started laughing. And so I got some cute pictures from that. So I pulled out some of my Shimmers, Inklings, and Creamies paints here, and I'm trying to coordinate with the colors that are in the collections. And this is kind of a coral pink color, and I did not use any gesso on my background paper, and you can kind of tell a difference. You can see how it kind of soaks right into the paper. If you use gesso, it doesn't do that as much, and so sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. I just didn't use it today, and it turns out fine. I just have to be careful with how much liquid I add to the paper so it doesn't start to tear and rip. And I'm just adding the packaging here to kind of smudge it around. I just want some pretty watercolor peeking out from behind that cut file. And I'm going to use some corals in different shades there, and add a little bit of pink spray to it just to get some different tones going on. I'm going to add some splatters. I really love these paints because you can really do a lot with them. You can splatter, you can use them with a brush, you can use them with the packaging, pretty much anything. And you can see there a little bit how my paper is starting to warp a little bit, but in the end it's okay. It's going to work out because no matter how warped your paper gets, it is able to be flattened. You just have to be patient with it and maybe let it sit overnight under something heavy so it will flatten out. This is some yellow I'm going to add in just in the corners there for now. See how that looks. I keep bringing the cut file and placing it back on top of it so I can see how it looks. Now this was a pretty bold, daring color. I thought, okay, you got to challenge yourself and use some of that navy blue. At first I thought, oh no, this is just too dark. But it winds up looking nice, I think, because I do have this color in the cut file and it is in the collection. And as I go, I think it gets better. I was kind of questioning that because it is so dark. And I think it's just because I'm not used to using really dark colors when it comes to watercolor like this. You know, most of the time when I use blue, it's a turquoise or aqua color. And so this was very much a darker color than I'm used to. So now I'm going to pull in some of my gelatos and just do a little bit of smudging with my fingers here to add some different shades, you know, darken it here. And you can see just how that little bit made a difference in that coral color there. And this is something else you can do with gelatos. Scribble it on some packaging, add some water, and you can treat it like a watercolor and paint it on with a brush or do the splattering here like I'm doing. So many different ways to use all of these things. So this is kind of how my design is going to go. This is another paper from the collection, Lovely Day. It is these gorgeous doodled, they look like hand-drawn flowers, and so they're just begging to be cut out and to be colored. I had to do it. So I'm using my water brush now. And I want to pull in some of that aqua color, one of my favorite colors. And I'm just dabbing the water brush into the, I think that's called Blue Lagoon. It's in Inklings. And I'm just kind of adding some color to these flowers. And I'm not using any gesso or anything like that. I just want some color on them. And you're still able to create lights and darks even without gesso. You can see here now that I've got water going, when I add the paint, it just kind of spreads on its own. And this is really easy to do. You could do this with a regular paintbrush. You could color some gelatos on there and smudge it with your hand. Lots of different ways to do this. This is another, I believe this is a Creamies. It's called Let Us Get Together. I love that green color. And I'm just kind of, you know, quickly adding some color here. This is a Vibes called Velveteen Green. I'm just dabbing some on there just to give the leaves a little bit of a variation in color. And it's okay if I go outside the lines because I'm going to cut all these out. I wish I had a huge stack of this paper right here because I could see myself coloring and cutting these flowers forever and just being perfectly content because they're so pretty and they look so good when you color them. And something else that's fun when you fussy cut out flowers like this and you use watercolor to color them, when they dry, they're naturally, the petals are going to curl up. It's just the nature of how paper dries when it gets wet. And so it makes them look even more realistic and gives you lots of dimension, and you didn't even really have to do anything. So I'm going to try to incorporate 3 flowers so I can kind of have a visual triangle of those flowers. I'm going to play around with where to put the other one. I wanted one underneath each of my pictures, and then I wanted a third one somewhere. So I'm going to play around with where they're all going to go. Now I do want to raise up the big hay, so I'm just going to add some random little pieces of foam. I've got all these little bits and pieces of different color sheets that I've got here, and I like how that looks. And so now that I've got that light aqua color in the flowers, I felt like I needed a little more of that aqua color in the background. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that in, and I believe that is a colorings called Well Blew Me Down. So yeah, I just wanted some a little bit of that aqua color back there, even though I've got those flowers going, because there is some of that aqua color in the Y, and I believe in the teeny tiny flowers on the H, and so that color is there. And I just had to color the leaves green, even though that green color is not necessarily in the cut file. I think it adds a nice touch. So now I'm going to work on gluing some things down. I know those flowers are going to go right there. I didn't want those to move. while I add some tissue paper behind my pictures. And I do this a lot. I just want a subtle, messy kind of, you know, a background. Like you really don't notice it unless you look for it. It's not distracting, and I didn't want any more patterned paper because I've got plenty of that already. But I do want to add some thread, and I've got the perfect color of that coral pink that's going to match nicely. And it's just going to kind of add to the messy, artsy look of the background and give it a little texture and little color. Some yellow, and I like how that looks underneath that aqua flower down there at the bottom. It just gives a little pop of yellow. And I've said this a million times, but if you like the look of the thread, some people don't, and that's fine, but if you do like it, it is a great way, and pretty cheap and easy way, to add pops of color. Like down at the bottom there, I felt like I needed a little touch of yellow, and I didn't really have anything yellow to add, so I just added some thread, and so now I've got a little bit of yellow down there, and it just gives it a little something extra. Just one of my favorite things to do, and I don't even have an explanation as to why, except for I just like it. So I'm going to start to glue the big hay down, and I'm going to layer that bottom picture right underneath it, and then I'm going to layer the top picture underneath it as well. And so, and I situated the pictures to where my daughter, in the bottom picture, she's looking toward the right, and then on the upper picture, she's looking toward the left. So I try to angle in where people are looking, to where they're looking toward the middle of the page. So I'm going to add in the hey 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 stickers, since that's what inspired me in the first place. And I've got the three main colors, the navy, the pink, and the yellow, or the coral. I guess you could say that's coral. And I'm going to cut out the white part so it doesn't cover up a lot of the background. And so now I kind of have a visual triangle of the hey hey heys. And you know, these are my favorite kind of layouts to create. I love just everyday moments. They're just fun for me. And so I felt like hey 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 would just be a cute title. Now this is something that is amazing. I got this in a hip kit a few months ago, and it is from this collection, the Lovely Day, and it is a roll of washi tape that matches that gorgeous doodly flower paper. And I love to cut these flowers out, and you know, it's kind of tricky, but it's pretty easy though. You got to be careful so it doesn't rip, but to cut these out and to use them as little embellishments, because it looks like you stamped right on your paper or you doodled with a black pen, and it adds the perfect little touch. So I did that a few times around the photos, and now I'm going to pull a couple of stickers from the sticker sheet again. Just little phrase stickers. I'm not even sure at this point what they said, but they add little pops of color. And then as I play around with them, I can't figure out if I like them or not. So I wind up putting them back. One of the last things I'm going to do is add in some journaling and then some sequins. And these are from Spiegel Mom's Scraps. She is the best selection of sequins ever. They are just gorgeous, beautiful, in pretty much any shade or color that you could want. And now they come in different shapes, and some little teeny flowers that are curled up on the edges. They're amazing. So I'm going to add in some yellow, and I believe some light aqua, just in random little spots, just to add to the random aspect of this, and to give it a little bit of bling and sparkle. And then I'm going to come back in with some, I believe that's the navy blue color that I used earlier, for some splatters. And I think it's going to wrap it up. That's the final page. I love how this turned out. It was a lot of fun. I really love this collection. It has a lot of possibilities for color schemes and just different things to play with. I like the way it turned out. So I want to say a huge thank you to Nicole for asking me to join over on the blog for Scrapbooking Cards today. It was a lot of fun. There's so many talented ladies over there. I was a little intimidated, but I like how this turned out. So let me know if you guys have any questions about any of the techniques or anything at all, and I will see you in the next video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great week.